They say, and by they I mean people from around here, that Cologne is an ugly city. This is quickly followed by the proud statement that the people are nice, that they're welcoming, tolerant, kind, open to new things. I never saw Cologne as ugly at all. I always saw it as, well, charming, in the least patronizing sense of the word. I mean, the city charms you. It takes you in. It makes you feel welcome. Maybe it was the non-douchey beer culture here that appealed. I don't mean beer culture in a judgmental neckbeard hovering over you waiting for you to decide between craft beers way either. I mean that here decent beer is a way of life. It's a birthright. You don't talk about it too much. You freaking drink it. Beer here means, more often than not, Kölsch. Heinz Grüner has lived in Cologne his whole life.
Prost.
He does marketing for several German breweries, so Kölsch is an integral part of both his social and business lives.
Kölsch is not a brand. What is this, anyway?
Let's call it a style. It's a pale ale, and people love to drink it in high amounts.
Malzmühle Brewery has been slinging beer non-stop for the last 150 years. Democratic, utilitarian, welcoming to all people with a powerful thirst.
I love the whole style, the little glasses. Is this unique to Cologne?
Other regions of Germany, you won't find such small glasses.
Right.
They start with 03 to 05.
To the giant.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a giant thing of beer, it's like piss warm by the time you get down to the bottom.
Right. But here it's necessary because it is not very carbonated and the foam disappears in minutes. Yeah. There are guys who drink it in one sip.
I'm not sure of the exact blood absorption rate of alcohol, but I would think that if you're hammering these things back, it's hitting your bloodstream at the perfect rate.
Maybe we have to name them alcoholic, but they are accustomed to it.
There are certain iconic accompaniments to beer drinking when in Cologne, like Methappen, which is minced raw pork with onions on a roll. Or Halfhahn, which is simply Gouda cheese on rye.
This is really good.
Now you see how it goes, no? You get a Kölsch without ordering.
I don't like this custom, though. I don't want to know how many beers I've had.
But he has to know.
Yeah, that's fine. Can he do his own little system? Somewhere around here, I'm thinking, geez, I've got a problem.
It's when the Himmel und Ed, or heaven and earth, hits the table that I start getting deep into my happy zone. That's blood sausage, fried onions, and mashed potatoes with applesauce, which, if you don't like, by the way, pretty much removes you from my will save from drowning list. And then there's this. The dish that almost alone brought me back to Cologne. It was sweet, sweet memories of this Stegosaurus-sized shank of cured pork, boiled and boiled until it literally falls away from the bones, steaming and moist, a symphony of meat and gelatin and good, good stuff. God is hiding in there, somewhere.
Cologne is a workers' town, you know, so the kitchen is definitely a workers' kitchen.
And yet, it has a pretty liberal, progressive worldview. Where did that come from?
It has something to do with the river. Occupation here was trading. So the Cologne people from the beginning were interested in other people and they took profit of other people. We are not afraid of influences from outside. But therefore, it's also important to have some traditions that are lasting for a long time.
And one of those would be Kölsch.
One of is Kölsch, one of is a dish, and people know that they can come here and it won't change. This place will not change in the next 200 years.
Cologne is, or was, a predominantly Catholic city, perhaps more Mediterranean in temperament than those fun-hating Lutherans and Calvinists. It's Germany's fun zone, and from November to February, Cologners celebrate Carnival. Partying here has a whole season. an exuberant, anarchistic, batshit wild 40-day celebration leading up to Lent. It can be absolute mayhem. My completely rational fear of clowns, mimes, parades, public dancing, and crowds in general really prohibits me from taking part. These days, Brian Jones could come back from the grave for one night only with the Stones, and Janice and Jimmy and Jim, they could all be there. And you know what? I ain't going. But the Coloners, God bless them, they love it. Oma Kleinman handles enormous crowds of revelers. Fortunately, the madness is still a few weeks away. And this is my old friend Tracy, who had the good or bad fortune, depending on how you look at it, to travel and produce shows around the world with me for many years. Anka is from Cologne and makes me feel better about my carnival phobia.
Carnival. You like Carnival.
I do, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Will jesters and bards and medievally attired pranksters be popping up during my stay here?
You're missing out, you really
Mimes? No mimes, troubadours, jugglers, human statues.
All of them are wearing bonkers costumes and look like shit all day. I don't like it. No, I always get embarrassed about those people. Yeah.
I hate Carnival.
I hate Carnival too.
Are there parades?
Yes.
I hate parades.
Okay.
Are there clowns?
You hate clowns.
I hate clowns.
Okay.
Jesters?
Yeah, occasionally.
Festive attire? I have beer right now. I don't need no stinking carnival to drink beer, man. And as I understand it, I'm urged to drink beer as part of a community of beer drinking with other bros. I hate bros.
It's not just bros. It's a whole community of people speaking in dialect, singing songs in dialect.
Singing. I forgot to mention that. I hate that too.
There is another side, and if you open your heart, you would see it.
My heart is a cold, cold place, and there's no room in it for jugglers. What did you think when you heard that I want to come to Germany and go to Cologne?
That's awesome, because Cologne is like the other city in Germany that I can really identify with. It's like I have this love affair with Cologne.
I often say that the places I go, there's a pheromonic decision made very quickly. You step outside the airport terminal and you go, and you know right away. There's something about this place that I think I'm going to like.
A few weeks ago, a friend of mine from Berlin came to visit me, and after 3 days, he just looked at me and said, Anke, what is this? Why are you all so satisfied? Why are you all so happy? Why are you all so relaxed? And I said, I don't know. Maybe it is because everybody's telling us that our city is ugly and Berlin is the big thing. And maybe we have to show with our hearts that we are good people and that we are having fun. And I think the Kölsch is helping us.
For some reason, every time I arrive here, I always feel like somehow that people are more open here to me being American and speaking German. And part of it is this carnival thing.
Really?
Maybe it's my own self-discovery of like being in another place and finally being accepted, maybe because I'm in costume and they don't know right away that I'm not German.
Right, it's kind of like an eyes wide shut kind of a thing.
This is what I came here for, though. Surfboard-sized slabs of veal and pork, filled with many wonderful things, dredged in breadcrumbs and fried in magical, magical deep fat. Now that's a carnival I can get behind.
Wow.
That is unbelievable.
Supposedly, you can split your schnitzel in half, take the other half home, and it's really good for breakfast. It's like the German equivalent of pizza in the morning.
Right, which is a tradition I totally support. Considering it's a beer drinking culture, at the end of the night, will there be 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 people all hanging out like way past the point that they should have gone home? Or does everybody reach a sensible point of intoxication and say, well, you know what? I'll see you tomorrow. Look, you're forcing beers on us. I didn't order a beer. Another one just keeps coming.
Do you know how to make it stop?
Face plant into my schnitzel?
There's an easier way. You do this. That means, like, I'm done.
Yeah, but nobody's doing that.
Not yet.
I'm not doing that.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. We know that Cologne is a proudly tolerant, fun-loving, beer-drinking, pork-happy, and friendly little city. But just a few days before we arrived, Cologne became the focus of the whole argument over Europe's refugee crisis. Cologne, of all places, is now the example for both sides of an increasingly bitter argument over whether Europe, and by extension the world, should turn their backs on the millions of refugees spilling out of Syria, Iraq, and a Middle East spinning into chaos and slaughter. With the bodies of children washing up on Greek beaches and few other countries willing to help, Germany has taken in 1.1 million people fleeing ISIS, Russian and Syrian bombs, and war. One should, I believe, be admired and even celebrated for doing the morally right thing over the probably wise thing. Saker Al-Mohammed is one of many who found his way to Cologne. Hani Zaitoun helps refugees as they try to integrate into German society. This is unsurprisingly easier said than done.
Getting to Turkey, no problem.
Yes.
Turkey to Greece, problem.
Getting to Turkey is now a problem,
Right.
but at that time it was not a problem.
Next went from Greece to Macedonia. Is that
Yes.
correct? Welcome there? No. Serbia? No. Were you welcomed here?
Yes. Very welcome.
So here we are, Cologne, one of the most liberal, if not the most liberal cities in Germany. A city doing the right thing. And on New Year's Eve, the whole attitude towards refugees, not just European policy, but the whole moral question was thrown into doubt. Cologne found itself the test case, both example of tolerance and hope, and worst case scenario. Here's what was reported. On the night of December 31st, 2015, witnesses saw crowds of up to 1,000 men, described as predominantly Arab and North African, near Cologne's central train station. Some broke off into small groups, assaulting hundreds of women as they left the train station. Police were completely unprepared. The situation continued, reportedly, for hours. 3 weeks after the incident, the official numbers were as horrifying as first reported. 766 criminal complaints, of which 381 are sexual offenses, including 3 rapes. Many across the world, of course, saw this as the perfect "I told you so" moment. A sadly understandable reaction. There is no minimizing 381 sexual offenses in one night.
How big an effect is this going to have on the situation?
So all Syrians that I knew were totally condemning what happened. And we absolutely cannot tolerate something like this because it's not a part of my culture, it's not a part of what...
Do you think it will change the political climate, is what I'm asking? Before, it was relatively easy for a German politician to say, look, have a heart here. Let's do the right and moral thing. And it is being used as a club to beat any politician or leader who would like to have a more conciliatory or more welcoming attitude towards people who clearly need help.
Refugees are human beings, and some of them are good, and some of them are bad. There is 500 refugees who did this, and they're pretty bad. It's the fault of those who did it, but it's not the fault of the refugees, it's not the fault of the Germans.
The infrastructure exists more or less to handle this enormous influx.
An integration of 300,000 would be easier than integration of 1.1 million that entered in 2015. This is a challenge not only for the Germans, but also for those who came to integrate in the community. It's something that have to be work on from both sides, not only the Syrians, but also the Germans. The Germans are willing to, because they're pretty well organized.
Germany and Cologne had reason to believe they could pull this off, absorb all those refugees from a culture very different than their own. Here in Cologne, the Turkish presence is larger than any other in the country.
As I understand it, during the 60s, 70s, the German industry essentially recruited in cooperation with the Turkish government huge numbers of Turkish workers. Was that the beginning of the sizable Turkish population?
Yes, it was. Like my grandfather and my grandmother, they came here in the 70s. My parents, they started to work in a company, like in a wool company. Everybody has almost the same story here in the third generation.
Melek Yaprak's grandparents were among the first wave of Turks to arrive in Cologne. And to a great extent nowadays, Turkish food is German food, the way Italian, Eastern European, Jewish, and Chinese have become American food. Rocky to start.
Prost.
Prost.
That brings me back.
Yeah, this brings back Istanbul to us.
Yeah.
When we go there, we have always raki in the Bosporus, and here, this is like Istanbul feeling for us.
Yeah, me too.
And meze, spicy mashed vegetables, tzatziki, hummus, beetroot and olive dip, fried eggplant, pastries with feta, meatballs with tomato sauce and mint.
Whoa, that looks really pretty.
I don't think that you have any problems with spicy. Yeah?
No. I like very
all right.
much. Since you were born here, how Turkish do you feel and how German do you feel? And when does that equation change? Are there times when you feel, I'm not part of this, or other times you feel, oh, I'm definitely part of this?
That's a question I'm thinking about all my life. In my heart, I'm Turkish. In my head, I'm German. I'm glad that my parents wanted to have a good education for me, but still at home, they were Turkish, like Turkish traditions and Turkish thinking. So I was always on both sides. And now I'm adult enough to pick the best ones from both sides.
Growing up here as the child of Turkish immigrants, how did you feel at school? You felt German?
Yeah.
So why do you think Germany's good at that?
The Germans are very correct people. They want to have everything on the point. They don't like surprises, so they organize everything before.
It's almost a cliche that it's organized.
It's not a cliche, it's organized.
Grilled minced lamb basted with hot tomato sauce and slathered with melted sheep butter and yogurt. Roast lamb with feta, bulgur, and roasted vegetables.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Dankeschön.
So, if you graduate from university here and choose to live in Cologne, could you afford to live here?
Yeah.
So it's reasonably affordable.
Yeah, but because of the refugee situation, I think living space is becoming less, like everywhere.
Do you think this is a pretty town? Most of the people I speak to say, well, you know, we're a very ugly city.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think it's very pretty.
Everything was destroyed after the Second World War.
Yeah, but it's not the most beautiful city in the world, but it is not an ugly city, I mean, at all.
I think I'm more with the ugly city.
You think it's ugly?
The buildings are new, ugly, gray, like made up after the Second World War. There's only a small old town.
Right.
I miss old buildings like in Munich.
So 20 years from now, will Cologne be the same?
I don't know. I don't want to think about it because now it's fine. I love it as it is now.
I don't hear that a lot. If you go to San Francisco, Rio, they're pressing problems. Or that the character of the city is changing. The character of the city does not seem to be changing.
No, it stays as it is.
An amazing meal, but you know, the heart wants what the heart wants. And baby, I'll always come back to you. And if history teaches us anything, it's that chefs, no matter how elevated their food, how fine their restaurants, chefs, at the end of a long night, want this: grilled bratwurst with curry. Daniel and his friend Dimitri come here to Fressbud for the bratwurst and spice braten, which is just what you need at this hour: marinated, rotisseried shoulder of pork.
Mayo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I feel so ashamed.
Drunk or sober, good is good. And I want this. You want this. We all want this, right?
Where did currywurst come from? I mean, this is a truly fiendish idea. It sounds like a really bad idea.
Nobody knows, really.
Nobody knows. It just appeared one day. Ordinarily, I'm totally against mayonnaise on fries.
Yeah, they don't even ask you sometimes.
Really? It was
Yeah, they just put it on there.
And they put like 50 cents for the mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Man, that's good. The legend is Cologne is a very accepting of new cultures, accepting of new, obviously, cuisine. Why?
It's a good question.
I guess we have a lot of gay people here. People say it's like the San Francisco of Germany.
It's a very Catholic town. Catholics are not notoriously, gay
Yeah.
friendly. What happened here?
That's a very good question. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know the answer.
It's sort of a nightmare scenario for a conservative. You're saying it's basically immigrants, homosexuals, and artists have made the town what it is. Can I find work here?
As a chef, yes. As a good chef, yes.
What if I were a mime?
There's actually a lot of them here.
Prostitute, work here?
Yeah, a lot of them. This is like the biggest brothel in Europe.
You know, that doesn't sound like a good thing. Smallest and most discreet might sound better. Biggest.
Yeah, well, it's also famous for its parties. So you can probably undercover go to a brothel. You say like, oh yeah, I'm just partying.
Why of all the places in Europe would the largest brothel be in here? And
Basically every month there's like a big convention here. So I guess if you're looking for company, maybe that's why.
it's a city of contrasts. I mean, on one hand, it's very Catholic. You would think conservative. If you look at the menus of a lot of the places here, very traditional, some pretty much the same menu in a lot of the places.
Yeah.
And yet, then there's your place. They're all doing well. It's very confusing. I need more beer.
Yeah.
3 more?
3 more?
Please.
Not 1? 3? Yes. No problem.
That's what I like to hear.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
The tortured relationship between Cologne and its sister city, Dusseldorf, is a study in differences. Most notably, the beer is different. The attitudes are different. It's, if you listen to partisans from either side, a short trip, but another planet.
Do they speak a different language here or something?
Yes, it's a different dialect.
It's not an accent. The actual words are different.
Yes.
The words are different, the spelling is different, and also the meaning of some words is different.
And the beer, most importantly, the beer.
And
is
the beer, yes. In Cologne, we have a pale beer, a light beer, and here we have a very dark beer.
Right.
It's called Alt, but it's not old, as the word Alt means.
Right.
It's surprisingly fresh.
fresh. I would like some fresh beer.
Yeah.
Uriga Obergariga is another one of those old and awesome German institutions designed to serve maximum number of people, the maximum amount of beer, and pork products with maximum efficiency. Look at this. Opened in 1862 and able to serve hundreds of people day and night, it's a marvel of orderliness in an uncertain world. Heinz and his friend Judith introduced me to Alt, the completely different beer these Dusseldorfians drink.
It's quite good.
Yes.
And me, as a Cologne person, I must admit there is a lot more taste in this beer
Right.
than it is in Kölsch. Unfortunately, after 3 or 4 of these beers,
Right.
I'm full.
So as a utility, everyday beer, Kölsch has definitely got an advantage because you can just drink it all day.
Yes, but the Düsseldorf people, they are accustomed to it, so I think they can do 10 or 15.
Pickled eggs,
Peel.
peel, cut in half, remove the yolk, add mustard and a bit of oil and vinegar, return the yolk, and go.
Perfect for beer drinking.
It's work,
Yep.
but it's worth the effort.
They make you do this yourself? I thought it was a Cologne they're supposed to be, you know, working class. I mean,
Yes, this is working class. Yes.
there's not a lot of love between Dusseldorf and Cologne. Why can't we all get along?
There was a battle in the 13th century.
Right.
And Dusseldorf won the battle, and that was the moment Dusseldorf got a city.
Right.
The city rights.
The city rights.
Right.
Yes. They have a different history, of course.
Right.
So they are a little bit more administration, a little bit posh.
Much more posh.
How would they describe each other? Oh, all of those people in Dusseldorf, they're all stuck up. They care about outward appearances, and they're all administrators, and they don't really work, or I don't know. I mean,
That was a perfect explanation.
Cabbage and metwurst, which is simply kale and sausage and delicious. And spicy pork goulash with rye bread.
God, that looks healthy. Well, kind of.
There's one difference as well. When I was a little kid in Cologne, I never heard the word Dusseldorf.
What do? They say the other place?
No, even not that. It was not part of our conversation, of our thoughts, of our...
Your world.
Of our world.
Really?
The first times when I came to Dusseldorf, I learned that the Dusseldorf people, they look to Cologne.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's
That's
a smaller town, and yeah, Cologne is more in the media.
Which city's better?
Yeah, only one answer, that's true. Cologne, for sure.
Why? What accounts for Cologne's, some would say, un-German, relaxed and open style? One explanation might be the dead Roman theory. I have suggested that the presence of long-dead Roman legions enriches the soil, making for good wine and a propensity for frolicking and drinking that wine. It is, I hasten to add, an idiotic theory, but I want it to be true.
Cheers.
Maurizio Arca here is German-Italian, sort of.
You've been represented to me as Italian, but you're Sardinian.
Yes, I am.
Now, this is a whole different thing.
It is, definitely.
My father-in-law and his whole family are from Nuoro.
Really?
So I am well familiar with Sardinia, and I know that, you know, this is not a dialect, this is a language.
Yeah,
and there is some ambivalence about whether they even consider themselves Italy.
They don't consider themselves as Italian because they always been left alone by the state. And I don't know Italy. You know, I've been in Siena, I've been to Rome, I've been to Milano, but that's it.
So Italy is more foreign country than Germany.
Yep.
You couldn't find me an Italian. I mean, what the man?
Trattoria Bar Celentano doesn't look like much, but what they're serving is deceptively good. Antipasti, grassi, carpaccio, tomatoes with pepper, parmigiana, grilled zucchini, mortadella.
The Italians came during that period, I guess, in the 70s, to work in factories, along with the Turks and Eastern Europeans and everybody else who came in.
Like my dad did, for example. He worked in a car factory near Osnabrück.
Was your neighborhood Italian or mixed or German?
It was mixed. There were like these homes made for the guest worker program. You know, all immigrants were like stuffed in there.
And integrated?
Yeah.
Meaning the Italians didn't all live together?
Not all Italians, but lots of immigrants, like Turkish people, Italian people, surrounded by Germans.
What did they think of the food, your parents? Like when they first said, look at all the cabbage and the potatoes and the giant hunks of
They love
pork.
potatoes, that's for sure.
Right.
But all this other stuff like Haxen, they don't like that stuff.
When you came home from school, what did your mom cook for you? Italian or German?
Just Italian.
Just Italian. That's just no surprise.
And spaghetti alla vongole. So life is good as far as I'm concerned. Give me a good spaghetti with white clam sauce, and I don't need much more. Maybe some wine.
Everybody here says the same thing. We are open-minded.
Yeah.
We try to be fair to everybody. We are welcoming. We're proud of that. That will never change. Do you think that the refugees who are coming here, that they will be integrated into German society as efficiently and as gracefully as your family was?
I'm not sure, because times are so different to the 80s.
But look, Germans are organized.
Organization is just one fact you need to control, to handle this, but
Look, all of the people who were involved on New Year's Eve, do you think that if they get work, that if people are kind to them, if they're given housing, do you think eventually Germany will figure it out?
I'm not that optimistic, to be honest, because I'm convinced that it's not a German problem.
Right.
It's a world problem. It's a European problem. We're all stuck in the same boat.